What's going on, everybody? I'm Tank, and this is another episode of Roadie Reactions. In today's reaction, we've got brand new music from Veil of Maya. And I'm excited because even though this is the first time I'm featuring this band on my channel, I'm actually really familiar with their music. I enjoy this band a ton. Now, admittedly, I was a little late to the party with them. I didn't start listening to them around 2015 or so when their album Matriarch came out, which is kind of wild because they come from my hometown of Chicago, and I've been hearing their band name for years. I just never got around to listening to them until a friend that I was touring with that also used to work for them told me they'd be right up my alley, and he was right, because I enjoyed that entire album from start to finish. And then they put out False Idol, which I also loved. So I'm really excited to get new music from these guys. Now, from what I understand, they had a new album ready, but they decided to scrap it. Don't know the story behind that, don't know the reason why, but I assume they've started over and they're getting ready for a new album. So whenever that day comes, I'm sure we'll get new music and it'll be featured on this channel because, again, I like this band from what I've heard. But let's just jump into this one today, man. I will link this original video in the description below. And today, I'm once again listening to Veil of Maya and checking out the brand new video for their song, Outrun. Let's go. Hold on. We'll go back into that part, but I had a couple things on my mind. So right away, that intro was very reminiscent of Sleepwalker by Parkway Drive. And I fucking loved it, man. Slamming intro. Really cool. I was wondering coming out of that if we were going to get harsher, clean vocals, because while in the early days of this band, they were way more known for the harsh vocals. When Lucas came into this band, when Matriarch came out, there was a lot of cleans and people weren't used to that. But I thought it added a lot more versatility to their band compared to the older stuff that I've heard. I love his clean vocals and I was kind of hoping that's what we were going to get. I love that this is a live performance shot. Obviously, it's not an actual live feed or anything like that, but really intrigued to hear what the next part's going to be based off of what we just heard. But let's get into it. Oh, that comes in hard. Oh man, that's fucking sick, man. That is solid. I loved how hard it came in after that like little synth wavy sounding part and then that breakdown too. This is wild. This is kind of wild because while there has been like kind of electronic vibey elements to their stuff before, I don't ever remember anything like that. but it's really cool. I like it, and it works. And Lucas's voice works on it really well. So let's talk some gear real quick. Pretty easy, actually, considering there's only 3 people in the band that are using instruments. So Mark and Danny are both using Kiesel. And I already knew that coming into this video because I've seen pictures of them using it and I've seen them talk about it. Now, Mark, their guitar player, actually has a signature with Kiesel, which is what he's playing. Now, I don't know if I've seen it in a light color like that. There's been multiple different colors that I've seen on Kiesel's website and pictures he's posted. And to be 100% honest, I don't know a ton about the actual guitar. I don't know like what pickups are in it or anything like that. I assume it's probably Kiesel's in-house pickups that they use, but I'll look up some info and try and find something out. But before we talk about Danny's bass, you know, we've talked a lot of history on Kiesel on this channel because we see a lot of bands lately using their instruments, especially in this kind of scene. Now, Kiesel is actually a super, super old company. It was started in the 40s by Lowell Kiesel, and a couple years after he formed the company, he renamed it to Carvin after his 2 sons, Carson and Gavin. So a lot of people are very familiar with that Carvin name because they've been around forever and they made guitars and audio equipment and tons of stuff. Now, while Carvin is still a company, they split off instrument production about 6 years ago and formed Kiesel Guitars. So now Kiesel is taking care of all of the instruments while Carvin is still its own company doing audio stuff. So Danny is playing a Kiesel, I believe that's the Zeus bass. Actually, I'm sure it is. And it's a headless. But the wild thing about that is it's a fucking 7-string bass. I remember the first time I ever saw a 6-string bass and I was so blown away by that. Like, he's using a 7-string. And again, I don't know terribly much about the electronics that are in that instrument. I will also assume they're Kiesel in-house pickups and electronics and stuff like that. But I'll look up some info and we'll talk about it. Let's hear a little more, and then we'll talk about Sam's drums and stuff like that. And yeah, let's hear what we get here. Oh, huge. Tell me Mark wasn't listening to a bunch of fucking Iron Maiden before recording this. I can't be the only one that thinks that, right? I loved it. I thought it sounded great. And I loved how in the audio mix, they had it harmonizing panned hard left and right. Really cool sound, man. A couple of things I did want to talk about too. I realize a lot of people have asked me about headless guitars on this channel before, and I haven't really broken it down how it works on restringing them. So headless guitars, the strings that you have to use on them are double ball ended. So on a normal guitar, one end has the ball, the other end doesn't, and that's where you feed it through the guitar. It's double ball ended. So on the bridge, most bridge systems, actually all bridge systems for headless guitars that I've seen, it's kind of like a little compartment that you unscrew and then a little piece pops out, like the saddle pops out that you put the ball end into and then tighten it back. Where then back up on the head side where the nut usually is, it just fits perfectly in there on the ball end. So it's kind of just held in place like that. There's no need to tighten or anything like that. And all the tuning is done down by the bridge. Stage setup wise, I find it very interesting that they have a ton of cabinets on stage because I would assume that these guys are using all digital for everything. They're all wearing in-ears. I'm sure their guitars and everything are feeding in there. So they may be using the cabs for live sound, but I think it's more plausible that those are dummy cabinets. And what I mean by that is that they're empty, or they're just not plugged in and being used. They're just for that visual aesthetic for the live show to take up room on stage and look cool. Now, maybe one of the cabinets is plugged in, but I would have a hard time believing that all of those are live cabinets. And a lot of the times you go to live shows and you see like a wall of cabinets from a guitar player. Most of the time, not all of them are being used. It's a visual thing. It looks huge. It's awesome. So I would be willing to guess they're all running digital rigs for everything, and that's just for visual aesthetics, but I'm not sure. I'll try and find out while I'm editing. And then going to Sam really quick, he's one of my favorite drummers in this scene. I love watching his drum playthrough videos and stuff like that. He's an exclusive artist of Tama drums and Meinl cymbals. We've talked about both a ton on this channel, so I'm not going to waste a ton of time here, but both very reputable companies. Tama is owned by the same corporation that also owns Ibanez as well, and Meinl is one of the biggest cymbal manufacturers in the entire world, based out of Germany. Let's just hear the rest of this, man. I want to hear this whole part again, because while I was headbanging, I thought my audio was glitching out, and I realized that that's intentional in the song with the effects, and it sounds awesome. Holy shit. Man, that's sick. Dude, I really liked this a lot. A lot of different kind of influenced sounds in this than stuff I've normally heard from them. And I'm a fan. Let's go talk about it. Man, I was just thinking to myself, I can't wait to edit this and watch my dumbass fumble over trying to take off my hat in that part, man. But overall, this was wild to me because while it still maintained that Veil sound, like you could play this for me without me watching the video and I immediately would know without a doubt, this is Veil of Maya. I know their sound. I know that voice. Like, it's great. But they experimented with a lot of different sounds I really haven't heard them use a ton. And they didn't really rely on just like brutal riffs or anything like that. You know, we got the heavy part in the beginning, we got the heavy part in the end, and then in the middle like that, but a lot of melody in this song, and then throw in like those kind of synthwave inspired parts in there. I thought this was wild, man. And the mix on it was fantastic. It sounded really good. I'm curious to see if some of their newer stuff they release is going to sound more like this, because you're kind of seeing the evolution of a band more and more. You know, they had a lot different sound before Lucas joined their band in 2015, and now they're doing different things, and I love it, man. I love when bands evolve like this rather than just sticking to one thing that they've figured out works. So I can't wait for new music. The second I find out there's a new album, I expect to see more music videos, more singles, stuff like that, so we'll have more on the channel. And if you guys enjoyed this, as always, I'll throw a link below in the description where you can stream this song on whatever streaming service you use and purchase the single if you'd like to support the band. And I'll throw their social medias down there, so give them a follow, keep up with tour dates and news and all that, and anything else you want to check out. So thank you guys once again, and if this is your first time here, feel free to click subscribe. I release new reactions all the time. Subscribing is free, and it helps my channel out a ton. If you liked this reaction, I would greatly appreciate the like, as it also helps the channel. But if you disliked it, no big deal, man. You are free to click dislike if you didn't like it. I'm also on a ton of different social media. I have a Discord server that a lot of us hang out on. I have a Twitch that I stream on. I do everything from video games to bass playthroughs and guitar tech work and reactions. So if you guys are interested in any of that, I'll throw links in the description below. My handle on everything social media is @TankTheTech. Thank you so very much for watching. I will be back very soon with another episode of Roadie Reactions.